Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning and it's time for breakfast. So one of the things I'm going to be cooking this morning for my breakfast is sausage gravy. You may hear the sizzling going on in the background. I've already got my ground sausage in my cast iron skillet, which this is my favorite cast iron skillet. It's gate marked and it's a Wagner. It's a very lightweight, and I like all of that about this skillet. So I've got my sausage in here browning for this sausage gravy that I'm going to make. And this sausage that I have here, it doesn't have a lot of fat in it, so I'm going to actually have to add a little grease to it. I've got some bacon grease. I think I'll just go ahead and put a little bit in it. Okay, this is some bacon grease right here. Put that in there. We're going to have some grease in the pan after the sausage is done to use to make the gravy. I'm the only one here today, so I'm just going to make a small amount of gravy this morning. Having to keep this stirred, I had my heat too high. Started out with it too high, so I'm having to keep this stirred up. Try to keep it from sticking to the bottom of the pan. So I've got my heat now. It's a little above medium. Probably medium heat would be fine to cook this on. I was just trying to get my pan heated up, and I had turned the burner up pretty high. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it down to medium, because when I start my gravy, I don't need my pan to be real hot like this. So I'm going to let the temperature drop some. Okay, we're just going to brown the ground sausage, chop it all up. And then I'm going to transfer that to another container while I make the gravy. Okay, so the sausage is good and brown. Let me put it in this bowl. Let me take this skillet off of the burner for a minute, so that it can be cooling down some while I'm doing this. Turn this around where you can see. Okay. Letting the grease drain off of it before I put it in the bowl. Like I said, I need that grease to make my sausage gravy with. Okay, we've got our ground sausage. It is browned. And, all right, let's put this back on the burner. Turn this where you can see me and it. Okay, we've got enough grease in the pan now to make a little bit of sausage gravy. Just right here in the bottom, you can see that grease. I'm not sure. It's just, yeah, just a little bit right there in the bottom. So I'm going to add to this just a little bit of plain flour, and we're going to brown that a little bit. So let me add some of that to it. Okay. stir it around. We want it to brown a little bit. Now, I haven't always known about milk gravy or white gravy or sausage gravy. And this sausage gravy, that's what it is. You make a milk gravy and you add the ground sausage to it. And I've not always known about this kind of gravy coming up. As a child and a teenager, I had never heard of milk gravy or sausage gravy. And so the first time that I come in contact with this, let me add just a little bit of salt. All-purpose flour does not have salt in it, so we want a little salt for this recipe, and we want a little black pepper. Let me put a little black pepper in. So the first time that I heard of this milk gravy was when my mom and dad took us kids on a family vacation out to Bristow, Oklahoma. Okay, my gravy is brown enough now, the flour is, so I've got to add some milk. You have to kind of work quick here. You don't want to burn your flour. So let's add a little milk. Stir it around. See all that bubbling and steaming it's doing? Okay, add a little more. And we're going to add enough milk to get the gravy to the thickness that you desire for it to be. Some people like a thinner gravy, some people like a thicker gravy. So it's just whatever your preference is. But Mama and Daddy had taken us on a vacation out to Bristow, Oklahoma. It was the first time any of us had ever been to Oklahoma. And there was a camp meeting going on there in the Holiness Movement. They had a camp meeting out there. And so we wanted to go to the camp meeting. I was 17. And when it was time to go eat breakfast, one of the things that they had for breakfast was milk gravy. I had never seen it or heard of it before. I didn't know anything about it. So I just kind of looked at it, sideways out of the corner of my eyes, and I didn't have the nerve to try it. I didn't try it, but that was the first time I had ever come in contact with it. Okay, let's see. We got some milk in here. We're going to have to let this heat up and simmer some. Some of the flour has stuck to my spatula, so I want to just scrape that off. Put that back down in the pan, and let's let that get stirred up with everything. Okay, I'm going to have to turn my heat back up a little over medium again to get this to boil and to cook on down like I want it to be. So anyway, that was my first encounter with white gravy. And the second time I remember coming in contact with white gravy was a family had moved from Oklahoma to our area and was pastoring a neighboring church, a church that we fellowshipped. And that was Brother Ronnie and Sister Connie Baker. They came down and was pastor in Foster Grove. And so Brother Ronnie and Sister Connie, me and Stephanie, we were just young teenagers. We was about 15, 16, 17, something like that. And they just took a liking to us and took us under their wing, and we became good friends with them. And we would go stay in their home with them, and we'd go to church with them. And so we had spent the night over there, and Sister Connie cooked breakfast the next morning, and they were from Oklahoma, so they had milk gravy. Sister Connie had cooked milk gravy, and that was the second time that I come in contact with milk gravy. And so I tasted her milk gravy. That was the first time I ever tasted milk gravy. But since that time, I have become more acquainted with it, and also with the putting sausage in it and making sausage gravy. So I really like the milk gravy. I really like the sausage gravy. And that's what I'm making this morning. And I have some leftover buttermilk biscuits that I made the other day. So I'm going to eat a biscuit, one of those biscuits with this. And my buttermilk biscuit recipe is on my channel. You can go see that. Okay, we're moving right along here. The gravy's starting to thicken up a little bit, and I'm trying to get the lumps out of it. That flour will kind of lump up some, and so you just have to kind of work with it and get some of the lumps out. I'm ending up with more gravy than I intended to end up with, but that's okay. I can put the leftovers in the refrigerator, and we can eat it tomorrow for breakfast as well. Okay, that's bubbling really good. It's thickened up. I'm trying to see if you can see that. You pour a little more milk in. So anyway, thanks to Brother Ronnie and Sister Connie that I got introduced to milk gravy. And my mother-in-law, my husband was from Oklahoma, so my mother-in-law, she would cook us milk gravy too whenever we went to see her. So that was another way that I came in contact with the milk gravy again. But thanks to Brother Ronnie and Sister Connie for their friendship, and for just taking a couple of teenage girls under their wing and mentoring them and helping us. I appreciate that. They really helped us in our younger years when we were getting established in the faith. And so I appreciate that. Okay, so here we go. I believe that's enough milk. We're going to add our sausage back in. Then we're going to let it cook down just a little bit with the sausage in it, and it'll be ready to eat. Okay, let me kind of move stuff out of the way here while that's cooking down. All right, let's see how it's looking. Oh yeah, looking good, looking good. All right, I believe I can cut the heat off to this now. Go ahead and get the heat cut off. Let it bubble maybe just a little bit more, and we'll have something fitting to eat. Let me show you something. Right over here, if you can see, over here in this corner, I have 27 jars of wild muscadine jam. My daughter Rebecca and I went picking wild muscadines while she was home, and I brought them home and processed them, and I made this wild muscadine jam, which is so delicious. Excuse me, you cannot get anything near about this good out of the store. This is just out of this world to have a homemade jam or preserves. It's just marvelous. And so anyway, I wanted to show you that, my 27 jars over here. And also I will upload on my channel the showing how to make that muscadine jam, showing you the process. So in a few days I'll have that on my YouTube channel. Okay, so our gravy is ready, and I already have me a biscuit cut open. I've got me a scrambled egg right here. I'm going to put me some of this on my biscuit, and I'm going to have me a good breakfast. this is my breakfast this morning. I wish y'all were here to eat some. And as my daughter Rebecca would say, don't be jealous. Y'all have a good day.